Have you ever entered a room and felt the air change? Not because of what you said, but because of what you carried. You didn't speak, but something in you spoke louder than words. Eyes shifted, conversations paused, smiles grew tight. You felt the subtle discomfort of others without doing anything at all. That is not your imagination. That is the invisible power of your presence. People are not disturbed by your words. They are unsettled by your energy. And if you have spent your life wondering why some people are drawn to you obsessively, while others withdraw without warning, there is something you must understand. Your aura is louder than your personality. I spent my life studying the unseen forces of the psyche. What we call aura is often the psychological imprint of wholeness. Not perfection, but integration. The result of someone who has made peace with their shadow, withdrawn their projections, and no longer wears the mask of the collective persona. This kind of presence is rare. And because it is rare, it is misunderstood. The modern world teaches you to chase likability, to please, to soften your truth to make others comfortable. But when you stop doing that, when you stop being available to perform, you stop blending in. And the moment you become real, you also become threatening to those who are not. This video is not about mysticism. It is about energy as an expression of psychology. Your aura is not made of light or color. It is made of alignment. It is shaped by the degree to which your inner self has come into coherence. And those who are still trapped in conflict, illusion, and denial will feel that difference. They may not know why they dislike you or why they feel exposed in your presence, but they will feel it. You will be accused of arrogance when you are simply sure of yourself. You will be labeled intimidating when you are simply at peace. And you will be called distant when you are merely discerning. Do not take it personally. Take it as confirmation. The more you integrate what others deny in themselves, the more your very existence will act as a mirror. And mirrors do not lie. In this video, I will walk you through 13 signs that your energy, your psychological presence, disturbs others not because you are wrong, but because you are real. And once you see these signs, you will stop shrinking to be understood. You will understand why your authenticity has always been both admired and resisted. And most importantly, you will learn how to protect your peace without hiding your light. Let us begin. When your inner world is no longer in conflict, it emanates something unmistakable. A person who has faced their shadow, embraced their contradictions, and stopped outsourcing their worth does not need to speak loudly. Their presence does it for them. This is not arrogance, it is psychological congruence, and it sends silent shockwaves through a world addicted to masks. The first sign is this: people either cling to you or avoid you, but rarely feel neutral. You'll notice that your presence creates polarity. Some feel inexplicably drawn to you. They confide in you, trust you without knowing why. Others withdraw, become guarded, or even resentful. This is because your presence mirrors their unresolved parts. I have said before, everything that irritates us in others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves, but not all are ready to look into that mirror. The second sign is this: you walk into a room and the atmosphere subtly shifts. You do not announce yourself, you simply arrive. And yet, people turn, posture changes, attention flickers toward you. You might not be the loudest, but your stillness speaks. This is the result of individuation, the psychological integration of the fragmented self, and the coherence that comes with it radiates in ways the unconscious mind of others cannot ignore. The third sign is this: people project their inner conflict onto you. You are labeled too much or not enough, based not on your actions, but on their internal template. If someone has rejected their own boldness, they may call you intimidating. If they have buried their longing for freedom, your independence may provoke their judgment. But understand this: it is not about you, it is about what you awaken in them. The shadow, when unowned, always seeks a target. This is why those with strong auras are often misunderstood. Not because they are unclear, but because they are clear. And clarity unsettles confusion. In a world where most people are performing personas and suppressing truth, someone who is whole becomes a disruption to the norm. You are not here to make everyone comfortable. You are here to embody your truth. The force of that embodiment is what people feel before you say a single word. And if it disturbs them, it is because they are still at war with the very parts of themselves you've already made peace with. In the next section, I will show you how the energy of coherence becomes a kind of emotional amplifier, and why being around you makes people feel more of what they've been trying to suppress. Not because you impose it, but because your very presence makes denial impossible. Let's continue. To walk through the world in alignment with your true nature is not only rare, it is disruptive. Because when you embody your authentic self, free of persona and shadow games, your presence becomes an amplifier, not of your voice, but of the emotional states of those around you. What they've buried begins to stir. What they've denied starts to surface. Not because you say anything, because you are something. The fourth sign is this. People become unusually emotional in your presence. You might notice others becoming defensive, nervous, or unusually vulnerable around you. They may weep during what seems like a casual conversation, or react with unexpected anger when you simply state your truth. This is not about what you've done. It is about what you've revealed. Your coherence shines a light on their inner fragmentation, and for many, that is too much to bear. The fifth sign, you trigger confessions, even without asking. People find themselves telling you things they haven't told anyone else. They speak of betrayals, fears, regrets. Not because you probed, but because your aura, grounded, safe, and real, acts as a container for the unconscious to rise. I have long said that the unconscious seeks expression, and when it finds a space that feels unthreatening, it flows. You become that space. But be warned, not everyone will thank you for it. Many feel ashamed after their truth spills forward. They may even distance themselves, not because they dislike you, but because they fear what they revealed around you. The sixth sign, you're blamed for emotions you didn't cause. Have you ever walked into a room and sensed tension, only for someone to later accuse you of changing the vibe? Or been told you're too intense, even when you were calm and composed? This is projection at work. What they feel in your presence is not what you created, it's what you exposed. And the psyche often protects itself by assigning that discomfort to someone else. I have taught that the shadow does not vanish by ignoring it. It waits silently, and when someone strong in aura walks in, the shadow sees its reflection. That is why people may love you one moment and resent you the next. You didn't change. Their unconscious was simply activated, and now they don't know what to do with it. But understand this, you are not here to carry what others refuse to face. Your energy is not the cause of their discomfort. It is the invitation to finally look within. Whether they accept or reject that invitation is not your responsibility. In the next part, I will show you how this kind of presence, this raw psychological exposure, either draws others closer or sends them running. Because when your energy becomes a mirror, only those ready to see themselves will stay. Let us continue. When your presence unsettles others, it is rarely because of what you say or do. It is because of what your energy reflects back to them, without filter, without distortion. You see, the persona they wear so carefully begins to slip in your presence. The mask feels heavier, the performance begins to crack, and what lies beneath, the denied, the unloved, the unspoken, comes dangerously close to the surface. The seventh sign is this. People begin to avoid you without clear reason. They pull back, they cancel plans, they keep conversations surface level or disappear altogether. Not because you are unkind, but because being around you feels like standing naked in a mirror. Your alignment shines a quiet light on the places they have chosen not to heal, and avoidance becomes their defense. It's not personal, it's psychological. The eighth sign, they accuse you of being too much or too intense. When the shadow is exposed, it often reacts with blame. If someone is deeply attached to their mask, they will resent you for threatening its illusion. I have long said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But not everyone is ready to understand, so instead, they label you. You're too deep, too sensitive, too spiritual. In truth, your depth unsettles their shallowness. Your sensitivity rattles their numbness. Your presence reminds them of what they abandoned in themselves. And the ninth sign, they try to dim your light, subtly or overtly. They may mock your seriousness, undermine your passions, or cast doubt on your path. Not because your light is false, but because it makes their own neglect impossible to ignore. I have seen it many times. The soul begins to awaken in the presence of someone who has done the work, and instead of rising to meet it, They try to pull that person down, not out of evil, but out of fear. Understand this. Your aura does not disturb others because it is chaotic. It disturbs because it is coherent. And coherence, true psychological alignment, is rare. Most live divided between persona and shadow, craving approval while repressing pain. But when someone walks in whole, integrated, unafraid of their own depths, it shocks the system. It breaks the spell of performance. But I tell you now, do not shrink, do not dim, do not bend yourself to remain digestible. If your presence disturbs what is false, then let it. If your truth breaks the illusions around you, then so be it. This is not cruelty, this is transformation. In the next part, we'll explore the rare few who feel magnetized by your presence, not repelled. These are the ones who feel seen, not judged, inspired, not exposed. Because when your aura is this strong, you don't just reveal the shadow, you also awaken the soul. Let us continue. There are two kinds of people your presence will affect: those who feel threatened and those who feel called. When your aura is coherent, when your inner world aligns with your outer actions, you act like a tuning fork. You vibrate at a frequency that reminds others of what they could be, of what they truly are beneath the masks. And though many will resist that reminder, some will feel drawn to it, like breath to lungs. The 10th sign is this: people feel seen in ways they cannot explain. You look at them, and they feel known, not for who they pretend to be, but for who they are underneath. Their pain, their dreams, their contradictions. They may not have the words for it, but your presence gives them permission to be real. And this is rare. Most human connection is built on mutual masking. But when you no longer wear your mask, others feel invited to set theirs down too. The 11th sign: strangers open up to you easily. Perhaps you've noticed it. In an elevator, at a cafe, a person begins speaking to you as if they've known you forever. They share their story, their wounds, their longing. Why? Because your presence feels like a sanctuary. It carries the weight of someone who has faced the inner night and emerged with light. In a world starved for authenticity, your grounded energy becomes medicine. It softens defenses. It restores trust in connection. The 12th sign: your presence inspires change without you having to say a word. I have said before, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. People watch you, sometimes silently. They observe the way you hold yourself, the way you speak truth without aggression, the way you refuse to betray yourself for acceptance. And something within them stirs. You do not preach, you do not impose, but you live with integrity, and that alone becomes a quiet revolution. This is the other side of the mirror. The light you carry does not only expose shadows, it also activates potential. It doesn't only disturb illusions, it awakens the parts of others that have been waiting for someone to reflect their worth back to them. But this is not a role to perform, it is a path to embody. If you begin to see yourself as a savior, you fall back into the trap of ego. You are not here to rescue, you are here to radiate. And in doing so, you give others the chance to remember who they are, without force, without demand. In the next and final part of this journey, I will show you how to carry this kind of presence with grace, how to protect your energy without closing your heart, how to remain powerful, grounded, and whole, no matter who is watching, projecting, or responding. Because a strong aura is not something you wear, it is something you become. Let us continue. You must understand, true power is never loud. It does not beg to be seen. It does not tremble in the face of misunderstanding. It simply is. And when your aura becomes strong enough to disturb others, the temptation will be to shrink again, to apologize for your intensity, to soften yourself for the comfort of the room. But hear me now. The moment you dim your light to soothe another's fear, you betray not just yourself, but the very energy you were born to embody. The 13th and final sign is this: you are no longer willing to shrink, not because of pride, not because of ego, but because you understand that every time you hide, you tell your nervous system it's not safe to be who you are. And healing begins when you teach your body that it's safe to take up space, safe to be seen, safe to be misunderstood and still remain whole. When you carry a powerful aura, people will project onto you. They will see in you what they cannot face in themselves. They will accuse you of arrogance when you're simply self-possessed. They will label you cold when you have simply stopped over-explaining. And they will interpret your silence as judgment when, in truth, you have just stopped performing. Do not internalize their projections. Let them fall away like water off skin, not with anger, but with clarity. When I spoke of the shadow, I did not mean it only as something dark. I meant the disowned parts of the soul, the power you left behind in exchange for belonging. When you begin to reclaim those parts, your aura thickens, not as armor, but as coherence, as the visible expression of integration. So how do you carry this aura in a world that demands your smallness? You protect your peace without guilt. You walk into rooms without shrinking. You trust your intuition even when logic argues against it. You set boundaries not to punish, but to preserve. You allow others to feel whatever they feel in response to your truth, without rushing in to fix or soften their discomfort. And most of all, you learn to be with yourself in silence, because the aura is not fed by attention. It is fed by inner congruence, by knowing that the face you show the world is not a mask, but a mirror of your inner alignment. If you've recognized yourself in these signs, it's not a coincidence. Your presence is not accidental. It is an echo of the work you've done in the dark, the healing you've committed to without applause, the parts of yourself you've made peace with. Now, I invite you to stay on this path, to protect the light you've fought for, to stop negotiating with the parts of the world that ask you to return to your smaller self. If this message spoke to you, I encourage you to leave a comment. Let the world know you are done dimming your light. Subscribe, not to follow me, but to walk beside others who have chosen wholeness over performance. We are not here to fit in. We are here to become real. This is not about being chosen. This is about choosing yourself fully every single day. Have you ever noticed how the air shifts when you enter a space? How conversations slow? How glances linger? How people become alert, though no words have been spoken? This is not your imagination. This is the weight of presence. And presence, my friend, is the loudest form of communication. Your aura speaks before your mouth ever opens. It transmits everything you've integrated and everything you've survived. It carries your boundaries, your beliefs, your inner coherence. And when those things are intact, when the conscious and unconscious have been bridged, the world can feel it. People sense when someone is not performing. They feel the difference between charisma and integrity. One pulls attention, the other commands it. One entertains, the other awakens. This is why people both gravitate toward you and withdraw from you. They are drawn to your clarity and disturbed by what it reflects. Because your presence demands a kind of honesty. It reveals where others are still hiding. It holds a mirror up to the shadow they've avoided. And not everyone is ready to see. I must remind you, this is not your burden. It is not your work to manage their discomfort. It is your work to remain in truth, even when that truth isolates you. Because true power is not popularity. It is alignment. Some will call you intense. Others will say you've changed. Many will project their unhealed wounds onto your face and name it arrogance, distance, coldness. Let them. Let every label fall away like the illusions they are. Your aura is not for performance. It is for protection. It is the field shaped by every choice you've made to return to your real self. When you stopped people-pleasing, when you withdrew your energy from what drained you, when you stood still in the face of misunderstanding and did not chase clarity. Every time you made those choices, your aura grew thicker, fuller, quieter. And in that silence, the world takes notice. You do not need to explain your energy. You need only to honor it. Because when you carry this kind of coherence, you change what others believe is possible. You disrupt patterns. You spark awakenings. You remind people without words that it is safe to stop performing, that they too can return to themselves. But before your presence liberates others, it must liberate you. So let them look, let them wonder, let them misunderstand. You are not here to be seen through their lens. You are here to embody the fullness of who you are. And if they ask, who does she think she is? Or, why does he act like that? You owe no defense. Your life is your answer. Your peace is your reply. Your alignment is your proof. You are not intense. You are clear. You are not intimidating. You are unapologetically whole. You are not too much. You are finally enough for yourself. And when you own this, when you stop apologizing for it, everything changes. When your aura begins to stabilize, when your energy no longer leaks into places of desperation or need, you will notice something strange. The more whole you become, the more others start to crumble in your presence, not because you harm them, but because your very being makes their masks unbearable to wear. You will become a screen onto which others project the parts of themselves they refuse to claim. Their fear of inadequacy, their shame, their need to be seen but not exposed, all of it will be thrown onto you like a shadow looking for form. Suddenly, you're the problem. You're cold. You're selfish. You're too intense. You're too quiet. You're too direct. You're too mysterious. But let me tell you this plainly. Projection is not about you. It is about what they are unwilling to feel within themselves. Carl Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." But the inverse is also true. Everything that triggers them about you reveals what they have not yet reconciled in themselves. When they attack your boundaries, they are exposing their lack of them. When they mock your solitude, they are revealing their fear of being alone. When they twist your truth into arrogance, they are admitting how small they still feel inside. You are the mirror, not the wound. But here is where your test begins. Can you stay rooted in your clarity, even when others try to define you through their projections? Can you remain in truth, even when accused of being false? Can you carry your presence without shrinking to make others more comfortable? The world is full of people who have never been shown how to face their own shadow. So they run, they fight, they blame. And those of us who have done the work, who have walked through the fires of self-confrontation, become dangerous, not because we intend harm, but because we carry the energy of what they have long avoided. It is not your job to be less so they can feel more. It is not your duty to edit your expression to avoid their insecurity. If your truth feels too raw for them, that is their opportunity for growth, not your invitation to dim. You will find that projection is loudest when someone's ego is defending an identity they haven't outgrown. Let them speak, let them twist, let them misunderstand. But do not absorb, observe it all. With compassion, yes, but also with sovereignty, because you did not come this far to become a container for someone else's denied emotions. You did not do the work of integration to become the scapegoat for someone's disowned self. When someone projects onto you, remember this. They are not seeing you. They are seeing a version of themselves they cannot accept. You just happen to trigger it. Remain clear, remain kind, but remain firm. You are not here to carry their unclaimed pain. You are here to embody the proof that healing is possible. That presence is power. That peace is not passive. It is earned. And the moment you stop mistaking their discomfort for your responsibility, you step fully into that power. The projections will keep coming. Let them. But from this place of wholeness, you no longer flinch. There is one final truth that must be spoken. When your aura becomes anchored in self-possession, when your energy is no longer begging, chasing, or proving, you become impossible to manipulate. And this, more than anything, disturbs those who live by control. They don't know how to handle someone they can't guilt into staying. They don't know how to influence someone who doesn't fear being alone. They don't know how to manage someone who listens deeply, yet obeys no one's narrative but their own. This is why they fall away, not because you pushed them, but because your groundedness exposes their games. So let them go, let them whisper, let them misunderstand. You are not here to play roles. You are here to become whole. And if this message found you at the right time, leave a comment below. What part of this spoke to your soul? If you're walking the path of individuation, subscribe and stay with me. The journey is long, but you are not alone.